All right, so what's going on with us? I was just telling Shannon, like, I'm so excited, like she asked me how I'm doing. And today, all day has been so good. Life has been so good. I just have like these amazing, loving feelings for my husband and my family, and I'm just feeling so blessed and like so good. And then I get a call from our electrician. So we have a shed. We were going to build a shed, like a pretty nice big size shed, but in our city, we had to jump through all these hoops and do all these things and we were trying to get it and we started this process in August. It's November,
Mm.
right? Maybe we started even before that. Like we started the process fairly early on and we're like, oh, like we should get it approved fairly quickly. It's really hard to understand all of those things. Came to realize that that was not going to happen in a timely manner because we'd like to get something in and insulated and going before snow falls so that we have a art studio that Michael and Nate can use. So I find this 10 by 20 shed. It's actually within, like, we could build something on our property that is less than 200 square feet and we don't have to have a permit. Awesome. But you have to have a permit to have electrical run out to it. Great. We hire an electrician. He's really awesome. He's done the electrical here before. We dig the trench, do all the things. They come over and they do the rough in. And so there was some back and forth. Normally, an inspection for the rough-in apparently is supposed to happen within 48 hours. The
Okay.
inspection is scheduled 2 weeks later. Well, during that time, we're like, oh, well, I sent a message. Does the floor need to be put in before you put because we have baseboard heaters?
Right. What
Yes.
can you keep doing while you're waiting?
Right, right. He's like, oh yeah, that needs to be put in before. So we hustle and we get that done, which means we've also put up the drywall and mudded and taped, and then we put the ceiling because we put the insulation and the, right?
Mhm. I've been watching on Facebook.
Right?
Yeah.
So the inspector shows up and I was in the 5 hour daily for 3 days Tyler Watson training. So I just
Mm.
like took the inspector out there and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting. And he, okay, was here for like 2 minutes and then he left. Well, the reason he left was a rough-in inspection, which all of the wires were supposed to be bare. So no
Mm.
insulation, no sheetrock, no mudding and taping, no ceiling that took days to
Right. He
finish.
needs to see everything in the 2x4 framing.
So he calls the electrician and says they need to tear it all down. Our electrician was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Let's see what we can do, right? So just like, okay. So that was last week, we get that call. Today, the inspection isn't for another 3 weeks, like 18 days, apparently.
Hmm.
It's the soonest we can get an inspector to come out here to tell us whether we have to tear everything down or if they can just go. So here's where I'm at. I'm trying so hard not to curse him. Like I'm trying so hard to bless him. And I keep sending all this like, okay, Jesus bless him. Like just bless him. And there's that part in my heart that's going, I want to curse him. And apparently this inspector is known for having a little bit of a Napoleon complex or a God complex or however you want to put it.
Right.
He does not play nice with, I don't know.
Yeah. He's like He-Man. He likes to have the power. He's just like, I have the power, and if I
Right.
don't like you, I will make life difficult for you. And if you don't follow the rules, I used to have a neighbor like that.
So I came in here and then this, like, I knew we were going to start this. So I sat down and I was like, okay, I need something. So I looked at Matthew 5:44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use and persecute you. Okay. I'm new on this journey. Shannon, help.
Uh, well,
Shannon's
So
like, why me?
it's all in how you wanna look at it, right? So, because when I hear it from an outside perspective, when I hear it looking in, I hear less. Now, of course, you see it differently because 'cause you're dealing one-on-one with this person. But for me, my first thought is, "Okay, everything happens in God's perfect timing.
Mm.
So why the delay? There's a perfection in this timing that we just can't see yet." And right, and I was just thinking about, so it's funny because this kinda segues a little bit into what I've been, struggling with on my side. Because as you know, went to this great conference. We're all just like, "Oh, so excited," and I get home and I have been so sick, so
I
sick,
know. I've been praying for
and
you.
yeah, and, part of me, I've just gone with a little bit. I'm like, "Okay, God, I don't believe you brought this sickness upon me, but I do believe that you use it," because my prayer leaving that conference was, and I'd even told Ray this when we prayed, I said, "Really, my only prayer that I have is that I will not go home and get so busy being busy that I fall into the old pattern and fall away from everything I've learned here." And literally, I've been so sick the last week. I've not cooked. It's 2 weeks, 2 weeks now. I've not cooked one meal. I've not anything. The only thing I've done is repeatedly gone to Ephesians and just read about, taking up the armor of God and just like, okay, what God intends for good, Satan clearly intends for evil. So I'm just going to sit in this time and trust that God's going to use this to keep moving me forward however I want to move forward. So that whole deal's kind of been my struggle. And in trying to look at it from what is God's timing and what is the burdens that I need to lay down versus the burdens that I need to carry, it keeps bringing me back to strengths coaching, right? Because this is
Yep.
my favorite thing in strengths coaching. And I know that you're going to be able to like segue this for me because you're going to say it better than I am. You have more experience in this than I do, but it's all about what's your business, what's someone else's business, what's God's
God
business, right?
business. Yeah.
And so in looking at that, which also comes into the God's timing and laying down your burdens, and one of the things I've written down for today, this is so funny how sometimes you and I just come together from a different perspective on the same sort of thing, is I'd written down a couple things from conference, and one of it, that's two things, and I don't know the speakers, I didn't write the speakers, but one had said, "What are you giving Satan to run with? And what are you worried about that God doesn't want you to be worrying about?"
Mm.
And so then from that, I went into Matthew 11:28 through 29, and it's, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my
Yes.
yoke upon you, learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest in your souls." So a lot of us are really familiar with that Bible verse, but it's really true, right? In these daily small moments in life, which feel so big in the moment because you had this big plan and you are so excited for Michael and Nate, and you are so excited for what you see happening in here, father son time, creative art time, this cool space, like all the things that you take it all upon you to one, try and control what you can't control, and to two, take all the weight and burden of everything that goes wrong along the way. Like, we kind of lose.
Yeah. To add insult to injury, that is also Michael's birthday, and he has asked me for specific things for just him and I alone, like to go to Como Zoo and
Mhm.
to go to this certain greasy spoon that like and it's right during that time that this inspection happens. So yes, like okay, what am I supposed to learn from this? And I totally see what I'm taking on because I'm like, okay, well, I wanted this day to be so good for him. I wanted him to just have this fabulous day, and so now I'm trying to manage his expectations, which I don't need to I'm in his business. I'm in God's
Right.
business. You're correct. I'm not in my own business.
And you know, if that's not going to be the thing on that special day, then it's because there's something else that's supposed to be the thing.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But it is those are good, and you're right. I just need to like give it back and say, Jesus, take this because obviously there's nothing I can do at this point other than wait.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which, and that's where I've been at the last 2 weeks. It's just like, "Okay, God, there's nothing I can do at this point other than rest," because I mean, literally Saturday, even being almost 2 weeks in, feeling pretty decent, showered, got dressed, did all the things, and fell out, like, passed out. I was down for the rest of the day napping, and so it was like, "Okay, God, I agreed and I surrendered and I said at conference, I give it all to you and and I prayed that you hold me to that and that you don't let me go back to the ways of getting busy, being busy. And I mean, it's not how I pictured it, but
Well, and
God is using it,
when all is said and done on my side of it, these are really first world problems. Like,
right?
is it really that much for us to wait a little bit longer?
It's not the building, it's the emotion you had attached to making this a special day for him.
Yeah. There's that. And that space being usable sooner than later.
Right.
Yeah, so you're right. It's the emotions that I've attached to all of that. We also have a giant trench that we can't fill in yet, which is a little bit of a hazard.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
and if it's gonna be weeks, you might wanna run some sort of plastic over it or something, so if we get snow, you can I mean, not to, add
well,
one more worry to the pile.
oh no, and then like the ground's starting to freeze, so like all that dirt that we need to put back in.
Yeah,
Uh, Okay, so the original thing. First, I just need to go back to the scriptures, right? To give all of this back to God, go to him as I'm weary and be like, okay, I like this is frustrating and I don't want to curse this person because in the past I would have marched down to City Hall and been like, excuse me, this is
yeah,
unacceptable. Like there's a 48-hour law. And the first one was 2 weeks and now there was a week in between and now we're another 18 days like that. Hmm, right? And so I'm working hard not to just bust down there and be irritated because there's no point in being irritated. The people that are there aren't the ones that are doing it.
right, and the person who is doing it, I always so it's kind of like bullying, right, with my daughter, and she went through quite a bit of bullying in school, and we always talked about hurt people,
Yes.
and it's like, um, praying for him. I mean, maybe we're not blessing him, maybe that's asking a little too much of our human little hearts is just to bless him, but maybe what we can do as Christians is pray for him. Like if he is really is, and we don't know him personally, but if all what's said is true and he really has this power complex and this I'm just going to show you who's in control complex, then that those behaviors come from somewhere because we all have things we do that are in relation to whatever traumas, experiences, inadequacies, whatever you want to attach to it, right? So uh, I would say next step is just to pray for him. I don't know who he is, God. I don't know what's going on in his life, Lord, but you do. And I just pray that he's able to find joy and happiness in the position that he has and make connections and meet people and bless their lives and help them move forward in projects that are big and bountiful and important to them. And that he understands that not only does he have this role of power, but that he has this role of changing lives, connecting people, doing like those are big things that we do. Like we built a big garage in our yard, so I know like you save money, you put time, you have all these plans. It's um it's a big goal, it's a big dream. And man, think if they could look at it from that aspect of I get to help somebody's like homeowner dream come true in a way because they get to expand their property or they get to build something special for their family. How
Yeah.
different would he carry out his job?
Well, and truly, another thing that was said was if he can't see what's going on. Now, I know the electrician. They've worked on our house before. They actually partner with the plumbing company that my son works for. Like, so really good, high quality. So I know that, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know them. He hasn't, the electrician said that they haven't worked with this inspector a lot. And so understandably, he wants to see and know that what's going into the property is done properly. So,
Yeah,
when I look at it that
absolutely.
way, I can see that, okay, he's actually trying to help us to make sure that everything was done right. The threat of you have to take all of that down, not only the time and energy, but the money it will cost us to rip
Right.
everything down.
Put it all back up.
So,
And then when you take it all down, should you have to do so, for him to come back for like 30 seconds and look at it and be like, "Okay, we're good." Be like, "Lord, I was gonna pray for him. We're gonna bless him," right? That's what we're doing. Because that's exactly how long it takes to is like those 30 seconds to be like, "This looks good. Thanks." Uh, no problem, buddy.
so
Uh
there you have it. That when you asked me how my day was going, I bet you didn't know that this is where this was going today.
No, and it's funny because, like I said, when I was kind of praying about it earlier, this is what was coming for me is kind of this laying down your burdens and giving things to God. And so for you to come with a kind of a burden from your whole different own experience. And then I thought, how timely is this with next week moving into that official holiday season? I mean, we get so burdened with the obligations of family and food and finance and all the things that aren't really the reason that we have these holidays, but, like you said, first world problems, they're a part of how we celebrate in this country, and so obviously emotionally we wanna have all those things and give all those things to our kids, and so, definitely whether it's today with your, gentleman who we need to pray for, or whether it's with me and my recuperation and, balancing that with family and work, or whether it's with anybody going into holidays or whatever anybody's dealing with to just remember to take that moment and one, remember whose business you're in. Is this your business? Something you can control, something you should even be worrying about? Is this somebody else's business? Whether you love them and want the best for them or not, is this your business or theirs? Because, man, as parents, we know that one really well, right? And then, or is this God's business? Are you trying to control something that's completely not within your control at all? And to go from that perspective of I'm going to control what I can control. I'm going to enjoy everything I have in this day, in this moment, and give the rest to God.
Absolutely. I don't think I can say anything to add to that. So, on that note, I hope you've enjoyed watching our conversation, and we really hope that you have a very blessed day.
Bye, everyone.